Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy One Yard Wednesday. One Yard Wednesday is our weekly show where we show you fun and creative ideas for using with fantastic fabrics at fabulous prices. And today we will have some fun. I'm Colleen from GEDesigns. We are a global company headquartered in Chaska, Minnesota. If you haven't been to see us, stop on in. We'd love to meet you in person. Producing today is Mr. GP. Good morning, GP.
Good morning.
How are you doing over there?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. You must be happy that it's a little colder, but sad that there's no snow.
Yeah, I'm over it.
You're over it. And so many of you said good morning. Thank you for that, and we appreciate that. And lots of people commenting on the crazy weather we're having in the U.S. for sure. Winter arrived today in Minnesota, and it'll be gone by Saturday. It'll be 60. So you just have to, put your head out the window in the morning, and then you know what you should wear each day because you cannot predict. Well, again, welcome to One Yard Wednesday. Let me remind you that the fabulous prices on our fabrics will be live when the show is over. So sit back and relax, and the prices are $7.99 per yard. Beautiful quilt shop quality cotton fabrics, $7.99 per yard. So let's take a look at the quilts on the set this morning. The quilt behind me is Casanova. It's from Strip Your Stash, and I really love Casanova. It's kind of a fun take on a traditional block. We'll talk about the log cabin block a little bit later on, but I've always wanted to make Casanova. This might actually be my inspiration. And behind GP, we have Trinity, and that was made by Nancy. How cool is that? What bundle is that, GP?
I think it's Rust in Bloom.
Rust in Bloom, and I believe we have those still in inventory. So if you love Trinity or if you love Rust in Bloom, grab those at gequiltdesigns.com. So I always start the show with a little question. I have a question today. My question today is, what are the 5 most popular quilt blocks? Feel free to comment. Feel free to comment your favorite if you have a favorite block, and we'll revisit that later on in the show. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started looking at this fabric. We have 5 one-yard options today, and they are really fun and full of summer. Let's take a look. The first 1 yard is called Lake House Navy. So it obviously, all of these lake themes, welcome to the lake, lake house, oars and lake and greens and paddles and lifesavers. So much fun on this really fun navy background. I love Lake House Navy. I love that it's tossed, so there's no right way and wrong way, or no up and down, and so it's not directional, so you can use this in all kinds of applications and not worry about a fussy direction. Next up, we have Lake House in white. So the same fun Lake House prints on a white background, and of course I love fabrics and prints that complement each other. I think these are super fun. I'd grab a yard of each of these and make something for my table, the trivet runner, maybe some napkins. We've got some other fun ideas to think about too. Next up is Lake House Lagoon. So I want to show you that the lagoon does in fact really go well with the navy, and the lagoon is so cute, full of all of these fishing lures. So if you have a fisher person in your family or in your life, or an aspiring to be fisher, these would come in handy. Again, a simple quilt, something for your table, something to wear, many things. And then something from another collection, but still a fun summery print. This is Lakeside Story Sailboats. So this would be a great jumping off point. Add in some grays and reds and maybe some citron green, and you've got yourself a really fun collection using lakeside sailboats. And finally, we have Nautical toss. And nautical toss is this grayish background with the anchor and the buoy and the crabs and the sailboats. Again, really fun, and these are all saying summertime, which I can't wait. Summertime. Summertime. All right, so those are our 5 fabrics today. We'll come back and look at those in just a minute. It's time for I've Got a Notion. So if you saw Gudrun's demo yesterday doing if you didn't, it was the demo for the 60-degree triangle binding. Excellent demo. Sometimes intimidating to do bindings on sharp angles like that, so check that out. She did wear some silicone finger covers. They were blue, so they weren't these, but I brought these out because these are the ones we have in stock. These are the Gypsy heat-resistant thimbles. They're silicone, and when I brought the jar so you could see what the brand looks like. When you order a set from GE, you'll get 3. You'll get the large one and the medium one and the smaller one. So it's a set of 3, and they fit on my fingers really great. They're silicone, so they're stretchy. They have a texture on them, so they're going to not wiggle on your fabric, and they're also going to help be heat resistant. So when you're pressing your binding open and you want to really be sure that binding is wide open and not doesn't have a fold in it, these finger thimbles, these silicone thimbles, are going to come in really handy. They're also great for guiding your fabric along on your machine. We showed the machiningers last week. These would also be a great option for adding some help to your fingers so that your fabric you have a greater handle on your fabric. So the heat-resistant thimbles by Gypsy Quilter, and you'll get a set of 3. That's my notion. Well, let's go back to the question. The question was, what are the most popular quilt blocks? And I was a little bit surprised because they're pretty traditional blocks, although maybe that makes it less surprising because these are the blocks we go back to time and again. What's really fun is seeing how people have taken these blocks and made them really unique and different and maybe more contemporary, going back to the tried and true. So the first most popular quilt block is drum roll, the log cabin block. And I pulled some pictures of these from Google just to have an image for you to see. So here's a very traditional looking log cabin block in some bright colors. You've got that center block, and you build all around, either lights on one side and darks on one side, or one colorway on one and one on the other. That's the log cabin block. And this is where the inspiration came from for Casanova, which is right behind me. Next up, the 4-patch quilt block. And I've got some 4 patches in process here. Again, another go-to. We add that in our quilts all the time. Fun and easy to do, and packs a lot of punch in terms of texture. The third of 5 is the 9-patch quilt block. So like the 4-patch, a real go-to for pulling those colors together and giving yourself some interest, and can be a larger block because you've got all 9 squares. So much fun, the 9-patch quilt block. Next up, half square triangle quilt blocks. So here they are, made into some sewn into bigger blocks. Half square triangles are just the 2 fabrics with the diagonal going corner to corner, and these are put together in all kinds of fun ways that makes them really interesting. So this is a great building block as well, the half square triangle quilt block. Finally, the quarter square triangle quilt block, and there that is. So in this, you can pull 4 different fabrics together, so it gives you even more texture and more color and more interest. That is super fun. That's the quarter square triangle quilt block. So those are the top 5 blocks. The other, I know we asked last week, are you more traditional quilter or more contemporary quilter? And the responses online of, I think the whole, globally, people are still talking about traditional being over contemporary or over modern. And about 62% of quilters say they categorize themselves as traditional. So we go back to those tried and true. Before I go on to the next thought, though, I want to remind you that all of these top 5 blocks can be made using the Stripology rulers. So grab yourself the Stripology rulers, the Master Your Stripology Rulers book, and there aren't explicit instructions for the log cabin, but it teaches you how to do cutting and piecing using all those rulers. So there is a half square triangle and quarter square triangle instructions, so how to decode those is in Master Your Stripology Rulers book. So shall we look at the fabrics one more time, GP?
Let's do it.
All right. So working from the end toward the beginning, the first fabric on my right is Nautical Toss. Really fun, great. I made one of these, I used this last summer, something like this, to make a tablecloth, and I really loved it. Next up, Lakeside Story sailboats. How fun is this? A little red, a little green, a little gray, and you've got yourself a really fun collection and something very beachy and summery. And then the Lake House prints. The first up, Lake House Lagoon. So this lagoon blue background with these fishing lures is so fun. Lake House white, the text and the images on white, so much fun, so bright and fresh and looks like a lake. And then finally, Lake House Navy. So all of these same images on that navy background. Don't feed the bears, I love that. And again, I like that it's not directional, so would make for a really fun project. We talked about Casanova, and Casanova, which you'll see behind me in just a second, is from Strip Your Stash. If you don't have Strip Your Stash, it's a great book that talks about all kinds of projects using strips. So here is Casanova, and to do the lap size, you're going to need 40 2.5-inch strips. You'll need some background, etc. But what a fun and bright quilt Casanova is. Behind GP, we have Trinity, and that is also a great quilt. Nancy made the Trinity behind GP, and we really love it. There was a bright, colorful Trinity at Gudrun's Crew on Facebook yesterday that was really spectacular. And then our notion of the day is the heat-resistant thimbles. And again, just a reminder, you'll get 3 of them, and they'll fit nicely on your fingers. They're very stretchy, and they've got that non-slip feature to it as well. So the heat-resistant thimbles in a set of 3. All righty. Just a reminder, as I was looking at particularly the Lake House fabrics, it reminded me that I have a bucket hat. And I think these Lake House fabrics would be great in a bucket hat. The bucket hat is a free pattern at artgalleryfabrics.com, and it's easy to make and so fun. For stabilizer, I used our Durafuse Quilt As You Go stabilizer, and it was just right in terms of giving it some body without making it too stiff. So get yourself or your littles a bucket hat this season. They'll enjoy it. Well, that's our show for today. We hope you love these summer fabrics and it gives you a taste of what's to come, at least in our part of the world. Our aim here is for you to have a fun time using all of these fabrics. So grab your Stripology ruler, grab a pattern, grab some of these great fabrics, make yourself something wonderful. On behalf of GP and myself, and now Mr. HP stepped in too, we're going to have a fun day at GE, and we hope you have a fun day too. See you next time.